Just answering questions with waptek. I'm going to bring up a couple of basic things here. People who use symbology and secret code words that they say only a certain group of people know, automatically it's assumed that they're part of that group. People who do this are compelled to do it because it makes it to where they can seem like they have special knowledge, not like you could just look this shit up. And I'd like to point out that if you wanted to learn anything you wanted to about a certain very, very touchy subject we're not supposed to discuss on YouTube, you could have just gone on 4chan and they had a FAQ for that kind of perversion on the internet. Literally any of them, really, but specifically the one we're not talking about here. Now I'm going to be reading comments from a viewer who wants to go off on a subject matter here that involves demonizing a particular group of people. Doesn't matter what the group is, but it happens to be liberals, and they won't let go of this. Now, this is not just me saying it. This is literally anybody else who isn't trying to do this about any group. Deciding that everybody is part of a political party or a population you don't like is the devil by grasping at every bit of truth you can find, aka fake proof, just makes you look stupid. And saying only the dirty, filthy perverts know these words, and then you say them. Now I want to point out that there were very few secret code words on the internet that are used ubiquitously, meaning they weren't really secret. They were used mostly to keep the system, the automated systems, from catching them. This is to get around word filters and to keep yourself from being immediately banned, blocked, or have your accounts shut down for email or whatever. And people do that for trading drugs, prostitution, all sorts of crap, all right? All right. Someone decided to post on my channel something about Pizzagate, or various other things, saying several different things, and said that on a website you would see, quote, the names and ages, well, someone did anyway, the names and ages of girls that went missing. Now, when he ever talks about something very simple here, though, don't you know that boys are kidnapped and that sort of thing? You see, this particular bent of person also says gays do this a lot, and they do it to little boys. But they never bring up boys being missing. Just an interesting observation. So anyway, they had names of girls that went missing in America and had ages beside them. Now this is on a website that's selling housing goods, shelving. Their names, because they chose to use feminine names for different products. This is a very common thing in Europe and in the United States too. And apparently this person's claiming they had the ages beside the names as a wink wink nudge nudge that wouldn't immediately set off alarm bells for anybody reasonable. And I don't have a link from this person. It's very dodgy if you ask me. Now I want to pull back here because we don't want to make an assertion and go forward with it. I have total proof that this bottle contains cyanide, but we're just going to leave it over there and have a talk about something a little less because I don't want to push it. The website had the names of people who are missing and their ages. That's very dodgy if you ask me, like hiding in plain sight. No, if that was really true, that would be proof that they were specifically listing the names and ages of people. But you're not willing to provide proof because, well, we have to pull back a little bit. What you're saying is you know for a fact that you aren't going to make an assertion that sticks, and you're just pushing it a little bit over the cliff here. And then, have you looked into Pizzagate? I'm just asking questions. I'm not making an assertion or providing evidence to the police that would actually get something done here. There is a playbook used by propagandists and agitators and infiltrators. And this is one of them. It's called pulling back. That's what it's called. You go in and you make a very strong insinuation and then you back away and let everybody else do it like some sociopath playing people against each other like chess pieces. And every one of you has met some crazy person like that. Observing manipulative and successful people is how you learn how to do propaganda. Salespeople are the same way. Then the person comes back with an example. 22 hours ago they post this comment. A bunch of other comments are posted by other people on the same subject, but let's go on here. A person's name, 5, and love heart in corner. Love heart in corner of each of these wardrobes. That's code for young girl. I'm not saying it's all true, even though I've got complete proof here, but I'm going to pull back. I'm not going to commit to this, but I'm going to pull back. Putting a heart, like you do when you're doing emojis, that's code word for pedophilia. A love heart. There is a symbol that was chosen by a bunch of people who are pedophiles about their preferences. It was a way to confirm what their preference was. And they would do imagery a certain way. And this became something that the FBI and a bunch of people noticed because they would use it for their icons for their YouTube channels and other places that now, if you think about it, that's very creepy. And they, that's it. That's true. But one of them was stolen from a universally used one, a heart. Another one's a triangle. No, it's not pizza. No, Pizzagate doesn't involve this. No, you finding connections where there aren't any just shows craziness. The CEO did leave the company after this. The CEO of what company? The assertion here is that a company was selling children by shipping them. And then when that was found to be a really stupid thing to say, sort of like pointing out that thermite's not an explosive to a 9/11 truther, then people just reworked it and don't acknowledge it. I think it should be medically impossible for people to be able to ignore the fact that they just said something stupid. I'm not going to acknowledge, and then their head starts to explode. A slow, pulsing swelling until they finally say the truth. But that would be in a fantasy universe where basically none of you could get away with this shit. There were protests outside from the staff. Really? Okay. Again, I asked you to give me an example of what company you're talking about. There's a specific company name. You're not posting it? But I'm pulling back. I'm just going to hit at things and push a little bit. I want a reaction. Feed me. I've been looking at the stuff for a while. It's hard not to make connections. Yeah, because you become obsessed with it. And you've learned to do all the stereotypical behaviors that get you erased from the channel here. You're trying to manipulate people into believing something that isn't true, and you, at least in the back of your mind, know that it isn't, because you don't have any proof of it. There aren't a bunch of missing kids. No, there aren't, because immediately you're going to cite a specific statistic that I've already done a video about and debunked. You're going to cite specific names, and as I said, and you won't acknowledge, several of the people who were named aren't missing. Have you ever looked into Pizzagate, or do you just say it's been debunked? I'm the one who debunked it. So yeah, I'm going to say it's debunked. And now I'm not even going to cut and paste anything other than, well, okay, I'll cut and paste all of your bullshit at this point. Copy. And then I'm deleting your comment set. I do not have to put up with you showing up here ignoring responses. Asked and answered. Princess Peach, 1987, posted that Wayfair had source, USA, and model numbers and stuff like this about very expensive items. The items were not being sold, if you're not aware of it, and they weren't to substitute for children being shipped as the original assertion. It was debunked because it was bullshit. And in the case of Pizzagate, people claimed there was a building that had a basement when it did not. And they claimed that a bunch of people were connected by tunnels that didn't exist. And they claimed that all of it had to be only liberals, even though conservatives do the same thing. that you're accusing them of. But no, it's not a politically and ideologically driven. And let's get on to the next one. People accused in the case of the deaths in Delphi, people accused of causing it. A sheriff, a sergeant, a doctor, some people in the Boy Scouts, the person whose property the bodies were found on, a judge, several other people, actual sex criminals. And the person goes on and on and on about how they look like a picture that we've only got 3 or 4 shitty frames out of somebody walking along a bridge from a police force that obviously can't identify them. The people who are being accused by individuals in most cases that are trying to solve the case and or are doing it for drama. A very small number, actually it's 25% of the people doing these accusations, are just accusing random people and have a history of doing this for several years before these kids, the 2 ladies, died. These are trolls. And again with the witch hunting, if you accuse somebody without any real evidence, all you're trying to do is destroy their reputation. You're not accomplishing anything, and you're not solving a case. Someone left a list of everybody that has been accused. So it's actually a useful list. I will leave a copy of it below. If you want to know about all the people who are accused of being bridge guy in the Delphi murders, the list will be below the first person who talked about me not debunking Pizzagate or something. That's really about it for the channel. I'm not really interested in talking too much. Someone said a bunch of other things 2 months ago. YouTube's comment filtering routine is loading things badly on purpose again. So I'm going to waste a bit of time here. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Good luck with that, and have a nice day. But got to point out some things. People who need to have their thumb on someone to push them down and fuck with them, that is the absolute stereotypical, that is the default that you get for people who are conspiracy theorists. They're vindictive, they harass people, they dox them, they threaten them, they want power over people. That's the majority of them, a vast majority. And also a vast majority of these people, we call them conspiracy theorists, but we should come up with another word, obviously, because that insults conspiracy theorists. It really does. The vast majority of them will bleed over into anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism, believing in flat earth and other contrarian things. It's a personality type. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know if this is a really accurate way of evaluating it, but it really is starting to seem more and more like that every time I run into anybody doing this. It's a type of person who is belligerently ignorant. I think that's the best word. Deliberately and belligerently ignorant. And this is accepted in our society and many others because it's the kind of person that is also stubborn enough to survive in spite of their ineptitude, I guess. Anyway, for real, thanks for watching. Have a good day, and I wish everyone luck with all of this. We have a really shitty year to get through, and I don't want it to be longer than this. I want it to go away now. I don't know what the future holds for anybody. But I do know you have to decide on which pathway you want to take to solve things. Lashing out at each other, even what I'm doing now, being angry with people, isn't really solving anything at all. But you're not going to solve anything by ignoring facts and ignoring the reality. Calling things truth when you're lying doesn't help, especially when you're doing it to yourself. Bye.